Tech tips, and of course our government worried about all sorts of threat, including cyber defense.
Stan Prager of GoGeeks is here to tell you how to protect yourself on the internet. Now we're talking about something that's even bigger than what we've seen.
The Pearl Harbor of cyber attacks, so to speak.
That's what some have called it, including Maine Senator Angus King has talked about in the future our next Pearl Harbor could potentially be a cyber attack. And there's some real good reasons to believe that could happen, and something like what happened this week could be a test run for something like that. Not necessarily. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of that, if folks aren't sure exactly what happened with this cyber attack, fill us in.
Okay, so essentially there was a massive global cyber attack that paralyzed businesses throughout the world, including in New York City and everywhere, more or less. This was a lot like that WannaCry ransomware that we talked about previously, except it wasn't. It mimicked it. It masqueraded as ransomware, but it wasn't actually ransomware. What it was designed to do was to completely encrypt hard drives so that the data could not be retrieved. So in other words, it pretended, it was a smokescreen. It pretended to be a ransomware attack, but it really wasn't. It was just an actual attack. It was just to put people out of business.
So I know, at least from what I saw in the media reports, it asked people to pay $300 or $400 to a Bitcoin site. That was not legit, though. Even if you did,
it didn't matter.
Your information was gone.
Okay.
Basically, it was. And the clue to this is that nobody asked for $300. Usually
is
the
that
minimum
too low?
It seemed low.
Yeah, very low, very low. And they asked, they put an email address out and said that once you've paid, send us an email. That was another blind, basically. That email account got shut down immediately. So that's never done, right? You would never need to let somebody know that you've paid them via email because you paid them with Bitcoin. So the cryptocurrency goes directly into their account. They would know whether you paid, right?
And Bitcoin's not trackable.
Exactly. It's completely anonymous and non-trackable. But the important aspect of this, the reason why it should give us pause, is that this was an attack very much like criminals use for ransomware, but obviously there was no intention to make any money out of it. Okay, there was, probably millions of computers were affected, but no money. There was no expectation they were going to get paid. There was no decryptor to download. They just simply put people out of business.
Strictly malicious.
Yes.
Not that the other part is, not malicious, but this especially so.
Right. This is very much like rather than a criminal kidnapping someone to hold them for ransom and then releasing them once they've been paid. This is like a criminal kidnapping someone and murdering them. Not asking for money.
So to what end? Is this maybe a foreign government or entity, or just some kid in their mom's basement?
Well, this appears to be an attack on the Ukraine. To put the Ukraine's government down. But it spread from there and affected Russia, it affected lots of Eastern Europe, and it put a couple of businesses, just closed them down in New York City when this occurred. So there's a couple of things that's really important. First of all, if you were using a current version of Windows and you had done all your Windows update, this could not get into your system. But if you have a network at your office and you've got one or two, even one old computer that's not updated, it can get in there and then spread throughout the network. So that's number one. Number two, you want to have a really updated antivirus. You want to have a good, like Viper, the one we recommend, that would have blocked it if you had Viper and you had the latest, antivirus definitions installed. And finally, we have to stop people from opening attachments. All right? And I have a really good tip for everyone. If you want to test your organization or just test your friends, take a Word document, put a made-up number in it, say, let me know if you get this code, give me this number. Send it to everyone, put the subject line, check this out. And see how many of your friends or employees, if you're a business owner, this is really important, see how many of your employees open it and email you back the code.
And then you know that those are the weak links, essentially, that need to be addressed.
Exactly. And I recommend everybody do this, either with a text file or a Word document, whatever. Just, it's just kind of a for fun, but a very kind of serious for fun. So you can really see, how many people that for instance, are susceptible to this to say, oh, geez, it came from Brittany, so let's open it.
I think we'd be surprised just how many would. Stan, we're out of time, but great information as always.
Thanks for having me.